We should point out some of the early criticism has been very fierce on this plan. Some analysts calling it insane, others saying it's dead on arrival. Nader Hashemi is joining us. He's the director of the Center for Middle East Studies at the University of Colorado. Nader, good to have you on. Your thoughts on the plan, big picture?
Well, the plan has been described as the deal of the century. I think the more appropriate phrase is the steal of the century, because it effectively gives Israel everything it wants in terms of expanding settlements, and it gives the Palestinians effectively nothing, not a serious state that is viable. So this is, a dream come true for right-wing supporters of the president of the United States and right-wing supporters of Benjamin Netanyahu. But it's really a disaster for any serious prospects for peace in the Middle East.
The president says a lot of things. When he talks about doubling the size of territory for the Palestinians, I was looking at the plan, trying to figure out what exactly that means. Were you able to sort of decipher that?
Well, effectively, it means the Palestinians, will get the equivalent of an ethnic reservation or something along the lines of a South African Bantustan, which they can control, their own internal affairs. It will probably be a piece of territory that is not contiguous. They'll call it a state, and they'll accept. They hope the Palestinians will simply accept those terms. So the specific borders, have not been, I think, delineated yet in the peace plan, which I haven't read yet. But based on the reports today, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a viable state that anyone can seriously accept as a solution to this conflict.
We know that Netanyahu is facing the end of his political career, potentially, or re-election, as you know, coming up in the next couple of months. What do you think is really going on with this plan?
Well, I think you hinted at it already. I think this plan is fundamentally about, extending the political careers of both Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump. Both of their, core bases of support love the details of this plan. And so I think, that's fundamentally what's happening. And if you heard what the president of the United States said today, he sort of hinted that that was the case. He said, look, this is a plan that we like. If it works, great. But if it doesn't, we can live with that, too, sort of suggesting that he really wasn't invested in this plan moving forward. It was really about other considerations, and those considerations are the political careers of the two men I just mentioned.
On the other hand, the president has said, number one, this will bring peace. Number two, this will bring economic prosperity. This will solve an issue, of course, that has been going on for decades now. Is there anything in it for the Palestinians?
Well, no. If your starting point is that the Palestinians are human beings who are entitled to the same human rights and national rights as Israelis, then no, this peace plan doesn't meet those terms. It basically, considers the Palestinians as subhumans who aren't deserving of the same, rights to security, statehood as their adversaries are. So this is not something that, anyone, I think, should support. It doesn't sort of, I think, advance the cause of peace. In fact, it sort of extends Israeli occupation of the West Bank, and that's why, right-wing pro-Israel supporters are so enthusiastic today.
Something else, too. I mean, the president's own son-in-law, Jared Kushner, was his point person on this Middle East peace plan. And I'm curious, given the fact that Kushner's family is close to Netanyahu's family and to Netanyahu himself, whether you think that perhaps undermines the legitimacy of this whole thing.
Well, that's a great point. I mean, the people who designed the plan are not, independent, objective, honest brokers. They're people who have deep political and ideological connections to one of the sides in this dispute. And so they've designed a peace plan that effectively reflects the political interests of one of the sides in the dispute. And the other related point is that the other party to the conflict, the Palestinians, haven't been consulted. And that seems to be perfectly fine for Donald Trump and for Jared Kushner, but anyone who's seriously interested in, diplomacy, conflict resolution can't take this peace plan seriously.
So is it dead on arrival, or, as we have seen with this president before, as you know, Nader, it could be, sort of a first step in a longer negotiation here, by different sides on the table? What do you think?
No, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. The Palestinians have rejected it. And as we just talked about a moment ago, this is not a serious peace plan. It's really about extending the political careers of Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu. And I think both men actually realize this. So the prospects of this leading to something better, I think, are dead on arrival. The only hope that I do see is that in November, there'll be a new American president, and perhaps a new American president coming from the Democratic Party, perhaps someone like Bernie Sanders, might be able to sort of revive the prospects for genuine and lasting peace. But barring that, I don't see any sort of breakthrough for Israeli-Palestinian conflict negotiation in the near term or the long term.
Nader Hashemi, Director of the University of Denver Center for Middle East Studies, with his take on this peace plan today. Thank you, Nader. Always good to have you with us on CTV.
Thanks for the opportunity.